So I'll do the official intro. Andy, I usually throw a pair of sunglasses on and do it, because of Sarge back there. So I'll throw those on. Hang on. Those are the wrong ones. Hang on. I don't have a campaign cover, unfortunately, but that's all right. I usually even wear a Sergeant Slaughter jumpsuit, which I've elected not to do today, mostly because it gets so hot and sweaty in there.
Do you have the Sergeant Slaughter toilet seat as well?
No. I don't know how appropriate it would be to sit on Sarge's face, but we'll ask Kelly's mum about that.
Kelly, I'm heading to Australia now. Take care of this situation. Tell your dad. He's nothing more than a blood wanker.
I'm sorry. I'll take it back.
No, that was funny.
Oh, geez. All right. Maybe I'll open the show with that. Maybe not. I don't know if they'll appreciate it.
Sergeant underwear. He wears the Sergeant Slaughter underwear, don't you?
Let's get on with the intro. All right.
Listen up, maggots. Welcome to the Slaughterhouse.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Slaughterhouse. I'm your host, Hazel Phoenix, and with me today is my Canadian co-host, Ken Poe from Toykennections, fan favorite and badass bitch, Kelly Remus, and our very special guest, the winner, Andy Vineburg.
Right, that's right. We're here to put the W in wrestling. I put the W in the Slaughterhouse. And speaking of the Slaughterhouse, nobody has a slaughterhouse like Zazel over here in Australia, right? Your house, from head to toe, as we say, is covered in camouflage because Sergeant Slaughter rules your life. Sergeant Slaughter is your life. You're pretty much married to Sergeant Slaughter. Don't tell your mom I tell it. But this guy has everything, Sergeant Slaughter. Definitely the biggest Sergeant Slaughter fan in the world. But tonight, everybody's going to be a Slaughter fan and a winner fan. That's right. Put up those W. Come on, that's right. W. That's what I'm talking about. Australia. Australia, Zazel.
G'day, mate.
Hey, Zazel, I have a question for you. This is a serious question. Do you know what you call an Aussie? What do you call them? Aussie? An Aussie in the World Cup finals?
What?
The referee.
All right, that's good.
I'm going to reuse that joke, and I'm going to use the word Canadian.
Right.
What do you call a Canuck?
There you
in
go.
The World Cup? I'm going to just completely reuse that.
See, Kelly and I here in America, we don't care about soccer, do we? Football,
not really.
Man.
Yeah.
We care about wrestling. That's what we care about here in the States, right, Kelly?
Wrestling.
Exactly.
That's right. Look at her with a good shirt on.
Cobra, was that Cobra Clutch?
Cobra Clutch. Look at that.
Perfect.
She's got it. Love
awesome.
It. Absolutely love it.
I've got to pick up one of those shirts. Kelly, where'd you get yours?
From my dad.
Okay.
This is not available. This is vintage.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Sorry.
I'll tell you what, Kelly, let's do this. Let's make a deal. I want to be the middleman right now, okay? Zazel, how much will you pay for that shirt signed by Sergeant Slaughter?
That specific one worn by Slaughter's daughter, I don't think she'd give that up.
I'm not giving up this shirt.
No.
Oh, I'm getting make you money here. What's wrong? Come on. Slaughter's daughter or not? What's going on here?
All right, I'm gonna open the bidding at 300 American.
What do you say, Zazel?
300. That's underpaying, if anything. Worn by Slaughter's daughter, signed by Sergeant Slaughter, posted all the way over to Australia.
By the end of this, it's going to have little sweat marks.
That adds to the value, doesn't it? We'll start the bidding in the chat later, and we'll see where it comes.
I was literally teeing up a serve for you there, Zazel. I was literally just lobbing it up as softly as possible for you to come overhand with a massive bid, because there was no way I was ever going to outbid you in the universe on that. I just had to throw out a number that actually mattered first, just smack it out of the court, and I go, okay, I'm out. That's all I was trying to do.
I know the value in it. You can't pay for sentimental value, Kelly. I wouldn't dare take that shirt from you. But I have seen a lot of.
If he has another one, I'd consider it.
Sure. Well,
so we'll
keep me in mind.
Maybe.
Tell you my jacket.
I don't have that kind of money to get your jacket, winner.
Wait, see the new jacket I got coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm turning it up a notch for everybody.
Winner, I'm trying to figure out which manager has the same flamboyance that you've got with the colors over there, and I'm drawing a blank. You know, not Slick, not Bobby Heenan, not Cornette. I'm just trying to think of who. You know, like you would be perfect to manage MJF in AEW right now with that jacket, I think.
MJF would absolutely love having me as a manager, even though he's one of the greatest talkers right now in professional wrestling, without a doubt. Everybody agrees with that. So he wouldn't need Andy Vineburg, but I can tell you
Understood.
This, he's very jealous. I know MJF personally, and he's very jealous of my wardrobe.
Oh, well, yeah, I should think so. It's
okay, so go ahead.
No, you go.
I used to manage him, actually, believe it or not.
Wow.
We were together.
He's got the scarf thing going, right? So I thought if he's jealous of your wardrobe, despite the wardrobe he's got, all right. So, yeah, just so you know, my props tonight represent each of you guys. I don't know if it's going to get caught in the final. When I said it earlier, if it's going to get caught in the final upload. But one of you guys here is Andy. One of you guys here is the biggest Sarge fan. One is the Slaughter daughter, and Dumbo back there is me. So didn't know what else to do other than represent myself with big, massive ears. So you know. That's my tribute to tonight's. That's my memoir to tonight's podcast recording.
Well, thank you for your addition.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's like those giving us the wiggles. There's no difference.
You're welcome, buddy. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
You'd fit in. You could be all the Wiggles in once.
You know, I actually saw them. I took my son to see the Wiggles once.
It's a great show. Yeah.
I couldn't wait to leave.
We're gonna get an outtakes of
all these kids.
The Wiggles. Oh my gosh, the Wiggles.
Zazel, we're gonna need an outtakes called "Winner Zingers" tonight. See how many minutes. Right. See how many minutes it is. Just like how last time when we did the thumbnail with Kelly flexing. Those wrestlers back there got bigger pipes than I do, but we'll need winner zingers.
Look at that. Come on, we can see them.
Right, which way you going?
Look at that. Look how strong this girl is.
You know what, Kelly? I reckon. Kelly, I reckon that's why you've done it this way with the camera angle, because you didn't want to overpower us with your guns on either side. So
there we go.
Appreciate that.
that levels, it evens and levels the playing field. You know.
There you go.
The coach ready to
because it's backwards.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And I can't take on Andy's wardrobe. I can try to take on the hair, but you know, once we get past wardrobe. Yeah.
You ought to see my wardrobe. My wardrobe, you can't keep up with my wardrobe. It's like a light switch. It's so bright. You just want to turn that thing off and everybody can chill out. That thing is without a doubt the brightest thing in my house for sure. I'm the brightest thing in my house.
I was waiting for that. Yeah.
I was gonna say.
There's another one for you.
All right.
The wardrobe
before we get on to the main show, I thought it might be a good opportunity for you, winner, to do a shout out to a mutual friend of ours,
Gennady. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for allowing me to do that. So, guys, I'm going to tell you something right now, okay? This is the truth. I wish I could say you guys are winners, but I can't say it, okay? 99.8% of the population in the world are losers, okay? Right? 0.2% are winners. You mentioned Gennady right here. Let me tell you about Gennady, okay? Some of us are born special. Some of us are born with different, great qualities about ourselves. Gennady is an amazing individual. This kid goes to work every single day at Home Depot. He walks, no matter if it's rain, shine, or snow. The kid walks over there. I got him a job as a MCW, which is a local company that feeds into a lot of the major pro wrestling companies in the area. And Gennady he has amazing parents. He has an amazing community that helps him. And the kid there's nothing that stops him. The kid doesn't make excuses. He doesn't look for handouts. He's a guy that goes to work every single day. He just got Employee of the Year at Home Depot. He's got the backstage. He's friends with the Baltimore Ravens. So thank you for allowing me to give that shout to the great Gennady, we call him.
Congratulations on getting Employee of the Year, Gennady.
Yes.
Well done.
Nice work. Second round of applause for the night.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Right.
Absolutely.
I've actually got the winner.
Hazel's beard. Come on.
Hazel's beard. One more.
It takes no effort. Takes no effort, mate. I was actually due for a haircut and a beard trim, but self-isolation has stripped me of that opportunity, and I wouldn't dare hack at this myself. So it's going to grow out just a little bit longer before I can get out there and have a haircut. It's starting to actually join up with my chest hair, so it's getting a little bit wild. Yeah.
Hey, Ken, welcome back, by the way, Ken. Was that number 1 or number 2 you just took?
he literally has gone number 1 while going
1 or number 2.
So, speaking of isolation, that reminded me that because my wife just got her booster shot about 3 or 4 hours ago. So my 6-year-old's in front of the TV. So I'm just making sure, I had to remind him, hey, if the doorbell rings and mommy's asleep and daddy's doing irresponsible things, just having guilty pleasures, hanging out with wrestlers' kids and wrestlers' biggest fans. So basically that.
Another reason why we don't do this live is because we all have outside commitments that could come into the house at any moment and demand our attention, and family always comes first. So never feel bad if you have to answer someone that comes to the door, or if you have to go and look after your family or anything like that.
But you know what? A lot of live podcasts suddenly have somebody go away from the camera like this, and then just come back anyway. So like I figure as long as the person doesn't take off for 30 minutes.
You can add your logo to that, Ken, when you go off camera.
I do? I can? Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
We'll figure that out.
Answer the question. Number 2. You haven't answered it.
Yeah, which one was it? 1 or 2?
Number 1 or number 1 or number 2? Well, I wasn't away long enough for a number 2, so people would assume that I didn't wash my hands. So I better just.
Well, I hope you did.
Yeah. So I better just say number 1.
Okay, we go with it then. And Zazel, did you name your kids after Sergeant Slaughter?
No. So it's, believe it or not, I got pushback on that. Yeah.
What would you have named them? Sarge?
What? Oh, maybe. Yeah, Sarge. That's a good one.
Sergeant. Sergeant.
You answer, but I have a story about that.
Oh, sweet. So I've got so my 3 kids. Kyle is the oldest. Kyle was named after I was a kid when I had kids. So he's in his 20s now.
Wow.
And what was popular at the time was South Park, and because I was a kid and I was watching cartoons, I was like, I'm going to name him Kyle after Kyle from South Park. My second son, Joshua.
I loved that show when it first came out.
Yeah,
same.
Best show.
Same.
And then I think I went and saw the movie in the theater, and then we just kind of fizzled out from watching it.
Anyway, long story short, I think after I named my son after a cartoon character from South Park, I was given up any other rights to naming my kids from there. So you have a story though, Kelly. I'd love to hear it.
So my dad and I, my dad was doing a charity event at a children's hospital or at a hospital and in the children's wing. And so I went along with him. And towards the end, this man came down and he was like, Sarge, I heard that you're here. I'm here with my wife. She's in her 72nd hour of labor. This baby is just not coming. We're such big fans of you. Please, will you come upstairs and say hello to my wife? So my dad in his full Sergeant Slaughter, comes in and he said, thinking back on it, I don't think I even looked at her. I just went right to her belly and was pointing at the belly and yelling at the belly and you better come out, you maggot, and stuff like that and all that. And then he left and that was it for the day. And then he had heard that she actually went into labor, had the baby, and that they named it Sarge.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Cool.
That's amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
So let me ask you guys. Can I ask you guys a question real quick? Did Zazel? I know how Kelly got into wrestling, obviously, but how did you guys get it? When did you guys get into it? What years did you start getting into wrestling and getting passionate?
Ken, you can go first if you like, mate. My story I've already told 3,000 or 4,000 times, but I'm happy to talk about it again. But you go, Ken.
Also, I love this question, right? Because it's Zazel's show, so I try not to say too much about certain.
This is our show, mate. This is our show.
Okay, fine. He likes to call it our show. I like to call it his show, where I ride shotgun and meet cool people. But
I'm concerned.
It's the winner's show, right?
But anyway, so I was given a Hulk Hogan Bendy's figure, not the full-size LJN one, but the Bendy's one. And I didn't really know. I always mispronounced his name when I was 5 years old. But when I first started, so that would have been around 87. In 89, the summertime, my cousins who had a house next door, they rented WrestleMania 5. So that would have been a few months after the Mega Powers Collide with Hogan versus Macho. So I got to watch that, and I just got really, really hooked after that, right? And so whenever anyone asks, did you get to watch wrestling in the 80s? I just answer yes. What I don't tell them was we rented it in the summer of 89, so it was the last half of 89 when I officially got into wrestling. I just say it still counts, right? So that's how I got into it. Then I started renting all the old Coliseum home videos, and then Hogan slammed Andre and all that. And then when I started catching up to watch it on a weekly basis again, Sarge was back and Volkov was back. And so my first year that I remember watching wrestling prominently was 1990. And just before we clicked the record button here, I was actually talking to Zazel about Survivor Series of 1990. Right, and how it was Volkov's team versus Sarge's team, right, and the way they booked it to keep Sarge looking strong to go into the Royal Rumble and win the title in 1991. So anyway, I deviated a little bit past how I got into it, but yes, it started with the Mega Powers Collide, and then both your guys' dads were very prominent when I started watching on a week-to-week basis. So,
awesome.
Right,
that's cool.
Right, that's why I was really excited for today. Right,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
so my stories are similar in some ways, but different in others, in that I was a G.I. Joe fan before I was a wrestling fan. And Sergeant Slaughter, one of the first, actually the very first cartoon of G.I. Joe that I ever saw on VHS had Sergeant Slaughter in it. He was very prominent in that episode, and I became an instant fan of Sergeant Slaughter then. And then G.I. Joe, the movie, came out, and it said in the opening credits, it said Sergeant Slaughter as Sergeant Slaughter. And so I turned to my friend Josh. I said, "Why would they say that it's Sergeant Slaughter as Sergeant Slaughter? Why wouldn't they just say who it is?" And he said, "Well, because that's a real guy." I couldn't believe it. I was like, "What do you mean that's a real guy?" And so we stopped the VHS of G.I. Joe the movie there, because he had a VHS copy or copies of various wrestling, and the first one he put in had Sarge walking down, holding an American flag. And there he was, G.I. Joe in real life, real American hero. And then from there, I started grabbing, because where I was growing up, we didn't have wrestling on TV. So right. I went to the video store and I picked up just about anything that I could find to do with it. A few Royal Rumbles and stuff like that, just whatever was out there available.
Because you had the Crocodile Hunter and the Wiggles one all the time, right?
Wiggles were a lot after that, mate. I appreciate that you think that I'm young enough to have been watching the Wiggles as a kid.
That's awesome. So Slaughter got you.
Yeah, those early pay-per-views were some of the best. The early Survivor Series, the early WrestleManias. There's so many memories there, right? And there was kind of something for everybody on the card, right? Like, lower down, you had my all-time favorite wrestler, Bret Hart, putting on some of the better matches at the tag team and intercontinental level, but then at the top of the card you had the larger than life characters and the big main event guys who were more about the spectacle than they were about the matches. But you had kind of something for everybody back then, and that's why it was so easy to be a wrestling fan back then.
So every character meant something back then.
Yes.
The Royal Rumble, that Sarge won, when he won, and that whole show, every character, or any Survivor Series, whichever back then. Everybody looked a little bit different, right? Everybody had a character you can relate to, whether you like him. There's something there. You either love to hate him, or vice versa. But the bottom line was, everybody meant something. I think that's what's missing in today's wrestling. Because
individuality is a lot of what appealed to me.
Yeah,
I mean, I was a big comic book fan, and so 80s wrestling. When you got everybody with their extreme gimmicks, their specific looks and attitude really helped me to latch onto that. And I think once we got into the Attitude Era and so forth, just the interest for me sort of dropped off until Ken started showing me some other stuff. I was like, okay, this is actually pretty good. But I reckon, Kelly, we could almost pinpoint exactly when you became a wrestling fan. If the story that I saw recently on an old interview that your father did on a talk show called Nightlife, I think it was called, he mentioned something about you, in fact, if you want to share that with us.
Yes. So we were in Boston, I believe. And this was early 85, 86, maybe somewhere around there. And my mom and my sister and I went to watch my dad in Boston wrestle a Russian wrestler. And my sister couldn't handle it. Now, my sister is 4 years older than I am. And she couldn't handle it. So my mom took her out and left me there with some people that we knew. Obviously, I wasn't by myself or anything, but I stood up on the chair. I had a whistle.
Nice.
And I stood up on the chair, and I think somebody even had to tell me how to stand because it was a folding chair.
Right.
And so they like showed me, and I was blowing the whistle and screaming, "Get that Russian, Daddy! Get the Russian! Get up!" Woo! Blowing the whistle and all that. I'm sure the people around me loved me blowing that whistle right in their ears. I think I cleared out a little piece around me, actually, a little person around me. But yeah, I don't think it was your dad, though.
They're all the Russians are the same.
It was I mean, really, when you think about it, it was just he was representing the US and they were representing Russia or Iran or
Cold War kind of thing. Yeah
So
you didn't want to portray a Russian sympathizer either. Did you guys know that story?
So I know. Go on.
I'll tell you about that. But I want to say this first. Funny story. Zazel and I guess we first got wind of one another. I was hosting a virtual signing with Sarge in upstate New Jersey. And it was so funny. This one guy's like buying everything, for every product that's like, they had an auction. Didn't you get all the stuff from the auction?
I did. I don't want to say too loud.
I'll tell you that story if we ever have her on. But he got everything, and Sarge is like, "Is it Zazzle? Is it Zazel?" Like he's looking at me, like, "I don't know." He's like, "Is it a male? Is it a female?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like that. We're trying to figure it all out, But we're like, I said, "He's a big fan, though, man. You got everything." We were so happy, and I'm glad that we got to meet because of it.
Yeah, that was the first time I'd ever seen you. I don't. Because of the pandemic, a lot of the signings went virtual, which was great for me. Awful for the world that it was a pandemic, but great for me because I was able to do so. And yours was one of the first ones that I caught, and I was like, "Who is this guy? This isn't just somebody sitting there, passing on photos to sign. This is a full-on personality. This is someone that's." Bringing the entertainment as well as, Sarge had some great stories to tell, but there wasn't no awkward silence in between. There was, no, I don't know. It was just a fun experience. I was blown away. I didn't know until much later your family lineage, and I've never brought it up, never really talked about it with you, but I thought this would be a great opportunity to do so if you wanted to.
Yeah, so I kind of keep it on the. He was somebody that always wanted us to really do things, just like Sarge was with his kids. Just wanted to do things on their own, right? To make their own name in the world and not try to have to live off Dad's name, right? Or just be getting handouts because of who you're related to, right?
Right.
So it's always been emphasized, if you want something bad enough, you're going to college. There was never a question there. But if you want something bad enough, you're going to go out and work for it. Wrestling wasn't something that was ever on my radar, really. I always loved it. And I would still go at times, hang out backstage and do different things. It was kind of cool being from Baltimore. We would get, back in the day in the 80s, we would get the NWA, once a month. And then we would get the WWF, it was called then, once a month as well. So, and being, the kid, I could go, when I started driving, I was like, I can go backstage to both of these. I'm pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, you see everybody and talking to everybody, getting to know everybody. But as I got older, I went to get involved. And I grew up in the era with, guys like Freddie Blassie and Jimmy Hart and Bobby the Brain Heenan and the Grand Wizard, who managed your dad, right? Didn't he manage your dad, the Grand Wizard? He managed. Yeah. So, and all of those guys, and I'm sure I just saw Jimmy Hart last Friday, but when you
saw that. I Googled it right before we jumped on. I'm like, oh my God, he met Jimmy Hart.
Yeah, Jimmy Hart and I worked about. I'll tell you about that in a second. But what I've done is I tried to combine all of those guys and combine them into one piece. You know what I mean? But I also want to be the guy that kind of tells it like it is. I don't like being around wrestling fans. I don't like the odor of wrestling fans. They don't shower, they don't bathe, they don't wipe themselves up. So I have a tough time around wrestling fans. Okay, so that's hence one of the reasons I don't go sign autographs, do all that kind of stuff. But the first time Kelly knows, she's been to plenty of shows. They don't bathe, do they, wrestling fans?
I wouldn't say that. I would not say that.
I am the winner, and I'm saying that's why I hand out toilet paper when I come out to the ring, and the fans love it. They always grab the toilet paper and throw it back at me the whole night. So, needless to say, what happened is I did a show not too long ago with Jimmy Hart in Williamsburg. Oh, look at that shot right there.
Look
at Super Destroyer Mark II.
That's
you
awesome.
Said Keenan, and so
There it is.
Why am I having a hard time with the?
That's a great shot.
That is awesome.
Who's that with him? It's
Nick Bockwinkel.
Bockwinkel, yeah, he passed away too.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was Bockwinkel, yeah. So anyway, Jimmy Hart gave me some great advice. He said to me, I used to wear a black suit, believe it or not, just a regular suit that anybody else would have, right? And he said to me, you need to get more flash. You need to change that up a bit. He said your promo skills are flawless, which is great, but there's nothing that's going to make you stand out from anybody else. They all have that same suit in their closet right now. And actually, that was advice that he got, believe it or not, from all people. Dick Clark, back in the day when he was the lead singer of the Gentrys, which had the #1 hit at one time called "Keep On Dancing," which was Jimmy Hart's #1 hit. And I've worked with Jimmy multiple times since that. And Jimmy's always, we didn't have much time to go over everything the other night, but we hit a home run. You got a chance to watch it. It's online, and it was an awesome segment that we did. And I sang a song there.
I know. It was almost as good as your Christmas song.
Yes, almost as good as the Christmas song. See, you're following.
What'd you sing?
I sang a song about New Jersey and how it smells, and I talked about, there's two things you don't pick up in New Jersey. You know what they are, Kelly?
Wrestling fans.
Well, that's part of it. You don't pick up trash wrestling fans, right? And you don't pick up women from New Jersey. Okay. But I sang a song. It was pretty funny, and I think everybody hated it, which was great. And they
that's the personality, though, right? You want that heat from the crowd, right?
It's missing today, right? So people, I was at Chipotle today. You familiar with Chipotle, right?
Yeah.
There was these two fans. They were just staring at me. And I knew they were fans. I mean, they didn't look familiar to me. I could just tell. Yeah. And I'm just like, and most of the time, a lot of times wrestlers, personalities, if they see somebody, they'll sign for them or take pictures, And I'm sitting there eating, and they say, "Could I take a picture with you? I know who you are." I'm like, "No, just get away." And to me, that's what's missing in wrestling.
Oh, like never breaking kayfabe.
I want to look. If it's a kid, if it's somebody with special needs, 1,000%, I'll do anything for them. But if I'm a bad guy, I'm a bad guy. I want to bring back that element of. I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to say, hey, when I'm out there, I don't want to be around you. You know what I mean? Like, that's just who I am. I want to be hated. If I go out there and kiss babies, and then what am I doing? I might as well just be a good guy. I'm not a good guy.
But it depends, because like there was that time where MJF flipped off the 7-year-old kid, and that made the news, right? Because he was trying to keep character all the time, because he has that exact same mentality of, I will never break character. Kayfabe is not dead. Like 1996 Curtain Call did not kill kayfabe in his mind, or not trying to speak for him, but like that's how he acts, right? So yeah. But
Vince McMahon doesn't agree with that. Just so you guys know, So and I don't work for Vince McMahon, but I had this conversation with Bubba Ray Dudley, who you all know, one half of the Dudley Boys, and I've known Bubba since it's another story. I worked for ECW for 7 years, believe it or not.
Did you? Wow.
Nice. Behind the scenes, I was one of Paul Heyman's right-hand men. And that's where
nice. Wow. Okay.
I read a book about that, but I get in a lot of trouble. But anyway, so like Bubba and I, we're friends. And one thing, Bubba went to Vince McMahon when he first joined in the company, and they were heels, right? And he said to Vince, he says, "Hey, I'm not signing autographs for fans. I want people to really think Devon and I are jerks. I want them to think that we're just truly bad guys." And Vince McMahon looked at him and says, "As long as I'm giving you a paycheck, you're signing for the WWF fans."
Okay.
And Freddie Blassie used to always say, and Iron Sheik, who I know your dad knows real well, had some amazing feuds, Kelly. he would sign for everybody. You know, he was everybody, they hated him at the time, right? Freddie Blassie always said his philosophy was he gets paid to be a bad guy in the ring, but not outside of it. That was his philosophy. Andy Vineburg gets paid to be a bad guy, and I'm a bad guy in general. So it's who I am.
You were throwing toilet paper to the crowd, so that's a high commodity. You know, it's difficult to find here at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
My dad has never turned down an
autograph. No, he wouldn't, no matter what. And
well, there was one time he turned down an autograph, and it was in an airport bathroom. Someone handed it under the door and said, "Hey, Sarge, I'm trying to catch a flight.
Yeah.
Would you mind signing this for me?" And he said, "No, I'm not signing that."
Sarge was
I think we can understand that a little bit.
Well, Sarge will still sign. Sarge will still sign stuff now as the Iraqi sympathizer gimmick, you know, or he'll happily throw in things like "I want my country back." You know, there's no error necessarily that he won't sign for a fan, which I think is great.
I kind of look at him as the first true crossover star of wrestling, just because, you know, he did the voice acting as the same character as wrestling. Really, I mean, I know The Rock crossed over, I know Hogan crossed over, but I kind of look at Sarge as the first one to kind of break ground on that. I think that's how I always, for me, growing up.
This is amazing. You know, he took a risk to take that, right? That's G.I. Joe thing, and he's got two. He could do wrestling conventions. He can do G.I. Joe conventions. It was the smartest thing he could have ever done, and I'm sure he's done really well with it. But the fact that he was able to do both, I mean, he took a gamble on himself, right, to do that, and he won, and he believed in himself enough to make this work. And man, it's unbelievable. Everywhere you go, if you're not a wrestling fan, you were a G.I. Joe fan back in the day. So no matter
or you were both, right?
Right. Or it was both, and it was a no-lose situation in the 80s. You know, that was the thing, or the early, I guess it was the 80s, yeah. And let me tell you something, he was the king. I mean, you watch commercials, G.I. Joe commercials, you know, then, you know, he was also doing AWA at the time. So you want to watch AWA because you want to see Sergeant Slaughter, what he's doing there. And G.I. Joe fans there too, right? It's awesome. Absolutely genius. Look at that.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
You've got a sealed 1985 mail away.
Wow.
With the swagger stick.
Swagger stick. And the red back file card.
Kelly, can I have that, please?
Kelly, you got the figure. That's $12 figure. Okay.
Can you turn it around, Kel? Can I see the others? Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
Kelly, do you take credit?
Can you put that in a mail box and send it to me, Kelly? That'd be great.
Yeah. His address is in Canada, somewhere around Vancouver, British Columbia. You can put Zazel Phoenix on there. I'll get my name legally changed for a day or two.
Yeah, right. Well, you can't even post.
With the Iron Sheik, the Iron Sheik would sign so many autographs. Sometimes he would miss flights.
Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
you know
really?
that?
Okay.
Yeah. Miss flights too because they want to get to a location, and the fans. He says, "No, you have to sign for the fans. What are you doing?" You know, and you sign the autographs, and it wouldn't stop. You know, it was just nonstop. You know,
because if it weren't for the fans,
right? Everybody knew that.
Be where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah. He's grateful. Yeah. Well, he also appeared on the Most Wanted Treasures, right? He was doing the I forget what they're called, the clubs. And I didn't realize until they said on that show those things weigh 75 pounds each or something. I was like, wow. Yeah. Right? It takes a certain amount. I mean, we talk about wrestling in the past. Zazel, I don't know what other topic you were going to jump to, but I want to know what these guys and you, for what I've shown you, think of AEW today.
Kelly, ladies first.
The AEW.
Well,
it's okay. It's okay to pass.
You can pass. You can pass. It's okay.
I'll take it for you.
So here's I don't follow
wrestling.
Okay. Kelly, what is going on here?
Andy, please don't hate me. I had to Google who you were.
You had to Google me?
Well, I imagine that, Andy, you'd be the highest Googled personality.
To be fair, I as a big a fan as I am of wrestling, I had to Google some of your more recent stuff and refresh my mind.
I'm doing right now, so I'm in a different stage of my life right now too, right? I have kids and whatnot, so I don't want to go out and do the big traveling just yet. I got another year and a half, maybe. I might take that gamble on myself and maybe try to get out there and try to get after my son graduates. But I'm thinking about maybe at that point I'll go make the move. If there's opportunity there, I might be getting too old for it though too. I don't know, but to have the opportunity to go do it.
That's not me having to Google you is not a representation of where you are in the business at all. Like should I even say it, Zazel?
Go for it.
I didn't even know Charlotte Flair was a wrestler.
Oh, whoops.
That is how little I follow wrestling.
Did
I
you know
think it was over the block
Slaughter
button.
was a wrestler?
Did
you know Sergeant Slaughter was a wrestler?
I did find that out.
But you had to Google that he was a G.I. Joe. So you knew he was a wrestler.
Was he a G? I can't figure this guy out.
Was he ever
so
familiar?
When I know more of wrestling from when I was younger, when I lived with my dad, like when he was really in it, like in the 80s and early 90s. Like that's the time frame I know. Those are the wrestlers that I know. Like I have, the stuff
totally
today,
fair. Totally fair.
Absolutely no idea what's going on.
Okay. No problem.
And it's just that's my dad's work.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. Sorry to put you on the spot with that question then.
Oh, no.
I'm totally still going to put Andy on the spot with that question.
Is the AEW, you mean the WWE? I don't
Not quite. But it's not quite, but it's okay. It's okay.
Sorry.
I'll take the answer. I'll give you the answer if you'd like. I'll take the question. So your question was, Ken, what are our thoughts about AEW?
About AEW, yeah.
I love the fact that there's competition, right?
Yeah.
Competition makes everybody better. Every wrestler, when ECW was around and WCW, that was must-see TV across the board,
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. I don't think we've reached that yet. I think right now people have a lot more options of Netflix. In the 90s, you didn't have all these streaming and all these different channels and whatnot. So there was more eyes on it, obviously. But today, I think the important thing is that they're creating some characters that people are really enjoying. I love seeing the fact that it's kind of a more of a non-scripted type of show. It's a show where I think anything can kind of happen. Anybody can show up. Like you mentioned, MJF, I think he's a phenomenal character. I think he's kind of what's missing in today's wrestling. Having CM Punk there is awesome. I don't know if that's going to wear at some point. We can talk about his character as well, because I have some thoughts there. But I do love watching some great wrestling. That's the thing that is awesome. I just don't think – I think what's needed, you have your superstars, your Jerichos, your Big Shows, your Mark Henrys. I love seeing Taz's boy coming up the way he's coming up now.
Hook, yeah.
Beat him up just right. I think that and this is all just my opinion, obviously, right? So wrestling today needs more characters, I feel. I see the AEW managers, a couple of those guys. I'm just not – there's nothing there to me. I don't think they're okay, right? But there's nothing special about them. And I think the WWE has created this NXT brand and this training center to mold everybody to kind of look the same. They, just their gimmicks. They're not like The Rock was who he was. Stone Cold Steve Austin was who he was. Sergeant Slaughter was a piece of who he was. Nikolai Volkov he wasn't from Russia, but he was from Yugoslavia. But still, he was foreign. Aaron Sheik came from Iran. I'm just using these different names today. Sure. I think you got to bring the belief back into wrestling. I think you got to have more characters. I looked at the amount of people that watch Cobra Kai on Netflix, and I got to tell you, great show, right? But why? Did you watch it, Kelly?
My husband and I are still watching the new season, but yes, I love it.
So good, because you love it because there's strong characters, right? There's strong good guys, bad guys, and swerves along the way that you don't expect, right?
Yes.
That's
the swerves. You're right. Great analogy with the swerves.
The nostalgia
same thing like Spider-Man.
Yes, nostalgia. Yeah.
Spider-Man movie. Look, Spider-Man's been done a million times, so you could do this a million times. Spider-Man had the third, that new Spider-Man, whatever it's called, Home. But anyway, Homecoming had the third.
No Way Home, right?
No Way Home, whatever, maybe something home. We're all home because COVID put us all home.
What I'm hearing you say is that wrestling needs Slaughter Daughter.
Right.
That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yes, I'm hearing that too. I'm hearing that too.
Right? I'll manage you, and we'll take you straight to the top.
Manage me?
Yes, I'll be your manager, and we will take it straight to the top. You'll be the top female star in wrestling. Charlotte Flair won't even. She'll be done.
Who?
Exactly.
Exactly. Is she even wrestling?
Charlotte Flair. Her dad. Who's her dad? We don't know who her dad is. He's an old timer, right? So anyway, what I'm trying to say is though, like Spider-Man had the third largest gross of dollar amount for a movie of all time. Why? Because you had characters in it that people wanted to see. Wrestling hasn't brought that. Like the CM Punk return was awesome. You know what I mean? That was great, right? But CM Punk isn't the same guy that he was when he was at the WWE, right? CM Punk was that rebel that kind of, he wasn't the accepted guy. He wasn't part of the WWE mold at the time. He wasn't one of the guys that they wanted to get over, but he got himself over to become a star. I think, and CM Punk's great. Don't get me wrong. He's a great talker. He's a great wrestler. He has the total package. But the new characters that you're starting to see are just absolutely phenomenal. And I think AEW, the interesting thing's going to be when you start to see the WWE guys, the AEW guys start going to WWE at some point. It's going to happen.
This year, probably. A lot of 3-year contracts from 2019 to 22 are expiring this year. So you're going to see it. Anyway.
What happens with Jericho can get a lot more money and all these other guys, but it's a matter of what they want to do, how they want to finish their careers. A lot of them are getting older now, but it's always good to have competition, but you got to do it right. To me, it's like you got to have entertainment. Hence the reason Ring of Honor. I do shows in the same town. The Ring of Honor is actually based out of Baltimore. I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. Sinclair Broadcasting owns Ring of Honor. We have a company that I work for. One of them is called MCW that I mentioned earlier today. MCW will draw 1,000 people to a show. Okay. Because what we do is we have strong characters. They bring 1 or 2 names in, to do the autograph deal or maybe even wrestle perhaps. And then the rest of the time we have strong, good guys, strong bad guys that the fans really get into. And we can draw upwards of 1,000 people at a show. And then you look at Ring of Honor, who has phenomenal wrestlers, who had phenomenal wrestlers. I know they're not in business right now, but there was no characters. There's no reason to, and they would draw the same town, 100, 150 people. And they got great talent there that they're paying a lot of money, but they're just not, they wanted wrestling and they got wrestling. So to me, what I'm trying to say is the Slaughter daughter needs to come into wrestling.
Yep, I'm hearing that too. It's an exclusive right here.
It's unanimous. Unanimous. Yeah.
Tell your dad.
Good characters. I'd make a good one.
Get the whistle, get the hat. There we go. Put Rick Baker in the Cobra Clutch right there. So.
You know who I managed for a while, Kelly? That was a good friend. He hit the son. I managed the son, your dad's friend, Big John Studd's. He was good friends with your dad.
Yeah.
And Big John Studd's son, his name's Sean Studd. I managed him for a while. He looked just like his dad.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, wow.
Oh, there you go.
A big guy as well.
I'll see if I can find a picture on my phone, but you guys talk. I'll see if I can get something.
Well, actually, I wanted to get some perspective on something from both you and Kelly, Andy.
Yeah.
And this is, you can continue to go through your phone, mate. It's all right. I'm not, I won't be offended.
I'll go to pick up.
So I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up, but you guys were going through a parallel during the time of Sergeant Slaughter's return to the WWF. So when he started coming back as the heel, those first initial promos he was doing, he was saying that he was coming back because of the face turn that Volkov did, and I believe that was his first face turn, going from being the kayfabe Russian to an American supporter, and Kelly's father was going from the. He's been a heel, but he's always been the American heel. And then, when he became the real American hero, he was the American hero. And now he's going up against, changing gears entirely and becoming the Iraqi sympathizer. So I wanted to hear from your perspective as growing up in that era, Andy, what that was like before the turn, growing up with a father that was probably, one of the big heels of the time, and then how it felt and how that may have changed your lifestyle after the fact, after it became a face, as it's quite a different experience, I imagine, to what Kelly was going through.
Well, I can tell you, let me just preface it before. I remember in middle school, I think it was, or maybe, it had to be middle school probably, I learned about communism. Right. And I didn't know, how bad it was and the way people lived. I knew that my old man didn't have the best government where he came from. He came from Yugoslavia, where And it was always weird. Like his birthday was October 14th, and he wouldn't even celebrate it. And I was like, "Why don't you celebrate it?" He's like, "Well, that's something the communists would do. They would celebrate their own birthdays." But his real name was Joseph, which is Joe. So he would celebrate his birthday on St. Joe's Day. That's what his mom would have him do.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
You can't watch certain shows. You can't read certain books. You know, I talked about the World Cup when the Croatians were in the World Cup. They had everybody was holding their flag with the checkerboard on it. You know, back
Right.
and that flag, that if you got caught with that flag back in the day, you could get in big trouble in the communist in old Yugoslavia, Croatia. So that was always in their closet. His grandfather was shot 27 times, at one point. Okay, so he obviously died. So for going against them. So you didn't know who your friends were either, because if you have a picture of somebody on your wall, so it's definitely different. So when he came here, and in the early 80s, when Vincent Mann Jr. said, "Hey, I have an idea for you to be a Russian sympathizer, be a communist," he said, "No, I hate communism. I don't want anything to do with communism. I won't do it." So he says, "I'll quit if that's the case." Freddie Blassie got a hold of him because he heard the conversation. And Freddie Blassie said to him, "Hey, listen, if you hate communism so bad, why don't you become one and show the Americans how bad communism is? Let them hate communism. Teach them what communism is." So
right.
Because of that, he decided, and he figured he could also make a few bucks, which asked your dad, Kelly, he liked to make a few bucks. They all like to make a few bucks. So my dad liked to save it too. But anyway, so did your dad tell you about the saving with him?
Yes, he was very frugal.
That's the word to use. Yes. He would get, if I bought anything, he would get so mad, but that's just who he was, because where he came from.
Right.
It's because of the cash. I mean, his family at one time had a little bit of money, not a lot, but they lost it when the government was taken over. So that was sad. So that's when you live through that and you hear those horror stories, it definitely affects you. And that's one of the reasons why he was as frugal as he was. I mean, he took a hot plate with him on the road everywhere he went.
Yes. Yeah, my dad said you'd be back at the hotel and all of a sudden you'd be like, "Oh, he's cooking something," and he said sometimes you'd get an invite and sometimes you wouldn't. But he said it was always good.
Great story one time. This is so bad. The Iron Sheik had a medal. He was an AAU champion. You know what that is for amateur wrestling. He was actually a great amateur wrestler, and he was the bodyguard for the Shah. So the old man and Sheik would have to room together. They would be roommates together all the time because they were, as a tag team. And they were at the Holiday Inn in New Jersey, one of these Holiday Inns, and they came back to the room, and the Sheik's medal was stolen. A bunch of stuff was missing in the room. All their stuff that they had in the room was stolen.
Oh no!
Yeah, right.
So Sheik gets in the room. He says, Nikolai, they stole my medal. So he said, "Just what do you care? Who cares? Just go buy yourself a new one. They can get you a new one." He said, No, they stole my medal, Nikolai. And he says, "Oh yeah, well they stole my hot plate." You son of! It's I'll kill you. He ran to the bathroom. He locked himself in the bathroom because she was going to kill him.
Oh, what a story!
Yeah. So, but no, that was So he would like to. I could tell you stories and stories about the frugalness. I mean, there's so much of it. And it's funny, because he was known for that. And if somebody said, "You're cheap," he's, "Oh, thank you very much."
I work very hard.
But he would always. He'd have he was. I could tell you a bunch of stuff, but he was funny. He was down in Florida one time. I'll tell you this too real quick. He was one of the top guys, and Dusty it was territorial days, and Dusty had Florida territory, and there was guys like Manny Fernandez there, Kevin Sullivan, all these top guys, Ivan Cola. So what they did was for the top guys, because they're making the top dollar, he was one of those guys in the main event against Dusty. All the top guys would get a plane. They would all put $75 in for a plane to fly him from town to town within Florida, rather than drive. And he didn't want to put the $75 in. So he got these Mexican guys that were on the undercard. None of them spoke any English. But he got somebody to translate for him. He says if they make lunch for him, have their wives make lunch for him, he'll make something from home, and he'll sleep in the van with them.
Okay.
So,
there you go.
With all these guys listening to Mexican music and stuff, you know what's going on.
Wow.
But no,
gee.
but with the with that all of that, that's hard, right? And when somebody that you're related to is so hated, that you, and I know Kelly's dad experienced it probably 10 times worse, because that was the main event for WrestleMania. Was it WrestleMania 7? Is that what it was?
7, yeah.
Yeah.
7, yeah.
So, I mean, I can't imagine what he was going through. He shared some of the stories with me, but when you're so hated that Sheik and those guys would all the bad guys would have to get in an ambulance after the shows at Madison Square Garden to transport them back to the hotel, because the fans wanted to kill the Russian, they wanted to kill the Iranian, they wanted to kill Paula Orndorff, they wanted to kill all these guys. So you have a situation where you got to that's why I didn't go to a lot of shows. But the most important thing was when he did turn good, during that time frame, and went with the Hacksaw Jim Duggan and everything. I can tell you that was a good feeling for him. The best.
Right. So did it impact you personally growing up? Kelly had a little bit of a bullying problem, unfortunately. Did any of that impact you in that way? No,
because I tried to we tried to hide it. We tried to use a different last name just to kind of keep it. So I mean, there wasn't the internet and stuff like that then, but just to kind of people knew, right? You got to have friends and they come around, but I tried they tried my best to make sure I understood the situation, and they always want to fight. I didn't get the gene of being a big guy, so
right.
I just stayed my ground, stayed very quiet, I would say, at that time, because I just didn't want people, number one, using me to be a friend for that reason.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Number two, just because they want to start. And the sad part was my son's a great athlete, phenomenal athlete. He was a great athlete. I'm the worst athlete probably not in the world, not just in America. I got zero athletic genes. So that was kind of hard, because I couldn't play sports. I tried out for sports teams. I never made it. So that part of it was hard. Then I just gave up when I'm like, I'm not going to do this.
So sometimes not making it is better than what I did, which is you get just good enough to be like an alternate bench warmer.
Yeah,
basically what I was. So you go on the court like, okay, the star is tired. Get out there, Ken, and go do something. Oh, sure, I can kind of run and I can kind of shoot, but don't put the same expectations. So sometimes it's actually worse.
There you go.
to make it and be like a backup guy, which is what I always was in my formative years.
I would have had to massage everybody or tie their shoes for them. That's what I would do.
There you go. But yeah, no, those were some tense times. I know, Kelly, I don't know if we talked about it on the last one, but I recall a segment on the True Story of WrestleMania 2011 documentary where your dad actually said things got so tense that like someone called up Vince and said, we're going to kill Vince, we're going to kill Sarge, we're going to blow up the offices, and then Vince had to send security over. I don't remember how much we got into it the last time we were here, but that was really tense for you.
Come to your house. They came to your house or something too, didn't they?
They came to our house.
Yeah.
And we had 24-hour security. They were living in an RV in the driveway outside our house, and people following us, security following us. My dad had security 24/7. He wrestled in a bulletproof vest for WrestleMania. They had to change the location of WrestleMania to a more secure location, and it was a hard time for me in school. My sister was older than me, and so they really didn't give her as hard of a time as they gave me. And I'm sure just me being who I was and how I was back then didn't help the situation, because I assure you I gave it back just as bad as I got it.
I can imagine.
And so, it still didn't make it fun.
No.
And, it was scary also to think that somebody wants to kill us. Somebody wants to not only kill my dad, but he wants to hurt me and kill me and my sister. And it was scary, but Vince did the right thing. And he did, I think he even asked my dad, like, if you want to stop, we'll stop. And my dad was like, no.
But you know what, Kelly? You hit a good point right there. Listen to what you're saying. Kelly, take yourself out of the equation and your sister, right? But think about what you're saying. Those fans bought into it.
Yeah.
Right? So much. And that's what I was talking about before, about getting into it. I would love to have that kind of heat where I have to have security everywhere. I would love to have that opportunity.
Yeah, and he was so good at what he did, you know. And I told this story last time, but I will tell it again, where I was watching YouTube clips of him doing promos, and with him, we were watching them together. And it was during that time period of him being the Iraqi sympathizer, and it was very close to the time when my cousin died from wounds in Afghanistan that he suffered in Afghanistan. And so my heart was racing, and I'm getting mad at my dad, and I'm, you know, finally I stopped and I was like, Dad, no wonder people wanted to kill you and kill us, because I want to kill you right now. And I know, you know, the story behind everything, but he was so good at what he did, and really getting underneath the skin of every single American that was watching wrestling.
Right.
You know, I mean, you don't talk bad about the USA, you know.
Well, we've never seen anything like that since, right? Like, it was so risque and it was so edgy.
Oh,
like,
you couldn't do it now, surely.
You know, like the story I never got to tell you guys.
They tried, it didn't go well.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
In 1990, the WWE came up here for a house show in December. I actually just Googled the event because I went to it here at the Pacific Coliseum, and I remember your dad, Kelly, was still on the way up. Like, he didn't win the title until the next month, but they were clearly setting him up to go against the Ultimate Warrior. And I remember just thinking to the arena, because he used to do this promo where he'd grab the mic and he'd go like, you know, attention, you maggots. Then he turned to the other side, you slime, you dogs, and you maggots. And he would say that. And I remember just having anticipation, thinking, so is my section of the crowd going to be slime or maggots? And I think we got maggots because was it I think it was maggot, slime, puke, and then he said maggot again on the way out. And
so good.
And I remember just looking at my friend. I'm like, what did we just get called in our section? You know, and we remember having that anticipation, right? Of like, so what Sarge going to insult us with tonight? And I'm pretty sure we got maggot, because my dad turned in and goes, did he call our section of the crowd maggots? I'm like, that is part of the show. I know you don't watch, but you know, because I was 8 years old at the time, and we had to come with an adult. Obviously, I would have gladly stormed the arena myself, but. You know, I just remember just having that. You guys talking about the heat. That's how I felt as a fan going to a house show, thinking, so what's Sarge going to say tonight? You know, right? You know, and I remember being so conflicted, because watching G.I. Joe, I loved him, but then watching wrestling, I hated the character. And I was like, oh, okay, right? It was a really weird thing, you know, to be going through that just on this side, as on the fan side of the curtain, right? So.
And he was so relatable in the 80s, right? So the 80s, we have, like I said, the Cold War going on, and then this Patriot comes out, Sergeant Slaughter, right? That was him. And I mean,
he started out as a heel. He started out as a heel, and then it just built into this. I may have been your dad that was out there, and he was just doing his thing. And my dad was like, play the Marine hymn, play my song. And he plays the Marine hymn, and out comes my dad. And then it just, the fans turned him into the baby face.
It was unbelievable. Yeah. Where did he train? Minnesota?
Yeah. Under Vern Gagne.
Yeah, Gagne. Yeah.
Vern. Yeah. And I remember watching old AWA footage around the same time that he was a heel in the WWE. It was obviously older footage, and like watching.
Sorry, can I just ask who's tapping that, because it is driving me nuts.
Here too.
Someone's tapping something. I reckon it must be you, Ken, if you can't hear it.
Not me. Yeah, I think it's you when you're moving, Ken.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the microphone is moving.
Okay, possibly. My son's in the room playing on the bed here, so I'm like trying to like push him off camera. That's what's going on. Like, he came in. That's why you saw me kind of cover the camera for a bit. But yeah. But anyway, sorry. It was. Let me know if it continues.
What's going on? I still hear it.
Yeah, I can still hear it. If it's your boy playing, that's fine. I can deal with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he'll be good to bed real quick.
Yeah, I think it was hitting your zipper, I think.
Okay. Might be the microphone hitting my zipper.
Yeah,
there we go.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I'm trying to blame the 6-year-old, and really it's just, dumbass dad. These guys' dads are heroes. This guy's dad is just a wrestling nerd who can't even work his microphone and his internet. But
you're a hero to him, though.
That's right, Ken.
I'm a hero to him. Oh, fine. Just say hello. Just say hello.
What's up? How you doing?
Oh, he's shy now.
What's your
How old are you?
He's 6. He can't hear because the microphone's on me. So yeah.
Okay.
I thought he was.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, not sure where we were on that, but is that better now?
That's
Yes.
good. Yeah. Yeah, that was it was an amazing story, for him to, and then everybody loves Sergeant Slaughter, but when he turned bad, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, and he was such an icon. This is the G.I. Joe guy. This is the American guy. Turns on you, it's like, their heart just sank. It's like, this can't be happening. Traitor, right? When he turned, went crazy again,
So even as a heel in the beginning, he was still, like I said before, he was still the American heel. He was the drill sergeant or the drill instructor, and you can hate him for that, but you couldn't ever say that he wasn't all American. And then he was head to toe G.I. Joe, coming out. He says that he introduced music to the WWE or to wrestling when he brought out the Marine Corps hymn.
Mm-hmm.
But being a heel and being anti-American at the same time, that's a whole new level of heat. He went from being called Gomer to
he would have the kids doing the Pledge of Allegiance with him. It was, that's
he'd bring them all in, give them all flags. It was all American stuff that even an Australian kid like me could appreciate. But yes, I couldn't have been. I don't know personally if it was, enjoyable or not to change up to such a extreme. But the after effects of it couldn't have been very easy, the personal life sort of thing. But when he really did commit to it, and I've said this 1,000 times, I'll continue to say it, that he did an excellent job of doing it. He did. He sold it.
Yeah,
I'm sure Kelly and her sister,
well.
Great life because of it, though, too, right?
Yeah.
Well, as a heel, he got to face off in back-to-back pay-per-views the top two baby faces of that era: Warrior at the Rumble,
true.
Hogan at Mania. Right? That's something. Right? You work with the top two guys that everybody wanted. Like, I would go through the merchandise catalog trying to get, do I want Warrior merchandise or do I want Hogan merchandise this month? Right? So yeah, just the accomplishment factor of that.
And Zazel was like, "Who's one Sergeant Slaughter merchandise?"
Well, yeah.
I can't imagine they were selling many.
Something you don't have, Zazel.
Oh, let's see it. Yes, please. Always willing to look at things that I can try and. Is that?
Yes. Classic. The Jack's Classic.
Is that a one of one?
That is limited edition. It's backwards. It's hard for me to.
There's some handsome men in the image there, though, in the reflection.
Rule breaker,
yes.
That's awesome.
Unsigned.
You know what? That's the Toy Fair exclusive one, right?
Yes.
I'm looking at the picture on the back there, but for some reason, some of those figures came with instead of a swagger stick, some of those figures came with a nightstick, like Big Boss Man would carry around. I never understood why they gave him that.
Zazel, and it's yours. So Kelly, I think I made you about $3,500 so far tonight.
I think the last time we checked, it was going for $6,000 US.
Oh, Zazel,
wow.
10,000.
Quite the.
It's great to look at.
That's awesome.
Quite the thing to have. I mean.
Well, I've got
this
a
is my
special.
son's college tuition.
Yeah, right. Good.
Like that.
If I ever win the lottery,
Zazel, I'll see you on eBay, Zazel. I'll bid it up, and you can take the final bid.
Oh, perfect.
I'll throw in a few bids to look like I'm in the fight, and then it's going to be Zazel's anyway.
Why do I have you on here, Ken?
To try and be useful sometimes. Once in a blue moon.
Ken's the heel.
I'm the heel. I'm the heel.
Yes, 7 Sergeant Slaughter.
Well, I'm trying to get to 777, but I can't imagine that one's going to make the list. That'll be one of those ones that it's good to look at from afar.
Well, that's
maybe for Christmas, if you're a good boy, Santa will bring you one.
I do want to push on to a different topic in a second, but before I do and before I forget, I wanted to thank you, Andy, for recording the trailer to my Slaughterhouse channel. You recorded that one for me. I know you were out and about doing your own thing with Sarge that day, but you took some time, and Sarge took some time to record a really nice intro for me.
I didn't do anything. Sarge does the work there.
Well, yeah, but you were there. You held the camera, and or at least sent it my way, and I do want to properly thank you for that.
My pleasure, mate.
Great. And you're coming onto the Slaughterhouse Wrestling Championship as part of a tag team duo.
Yes.
With your good buddy,
Gennady.
Gennady. Sorry, Gennady. I've got a really bad name that I can't pronounce either. I should know better. So Gennady is coming on with you as tag team partners called the Road Pigs. You guys did some amazing lines for that. That's coming up in a... Yeah, it'll be coming up in a... They take so long to do, but it's they're coming up very shortly. Kelly, I've got the pieces. I've ordered some pieces to create your character. She's coming on as Slaughter Daughter as well. But I wonder, Andy, if you were managing Kelly, would that make Kelly a heel?
She'd have to be a heel. If
you're
with me,
gotta be, right? So?
Kelly, we have to. If we're gonna, I would train you and convert you into the greatest heel in the history of women's wrestling.
My dad always said he saw me as a baby face.
Well, you'll eventually turn into a baby face when you slap me in the face and turn on me. But
the crowd will love that.
I'm totally down. I don't know if you watched the last podcast, but I said I wanted to be a wrestler because I wanted to beat up the boys.
There we'll tear them up. Those guns that you have, being Sergeant Slaughter's daughter, you let me do the talking, you do all the moving, and it's going to be the greatest team ever.
Okay.
That's it. All her matches have to be up against men. She won't go up against other women. She's going to be known as the new man of wrestling.
Go straight to AEW first. How's that sound?
Okay.
We're working.
I don't know what that is, but okay.
And then we'll go to
Doesn't matter.
It's all good.
To be the best at
it's all good. You just have to put CM Punk. You have to put CM Punk in a Cobra Clutch.
Tell me what it is. It's like it's
another wrestling company.
League.
All Elite Wrestling. It's on every Wednesday night.
We'll go there first, and then we'll make our.
Is it like a cross between like UFC and
no,
wrestling or wrestling?
Another wrestling company.
Okay.
It's just another.
Think of it like they've kind of filled the WCW void. That's the most simplistic way to put it. I mean, and I know if
owned by WWE.
No, it's owned by the Khan family, who also owned the Jacksonville Jaguars of the NFL. Hopefully, I got that. Yeah, I got that right. I think.
You got that,
yeah. They've provided the competition. They got a lot of money behind them. But by now, the WWE machine has rolled so far ahead of anything else, right? They got deals in Saudi Arabia. They got deals on Fox. They got deals on USA Network. It's hard for anyone to really compete with their exposure at this point in time. But I kind of feel like a lot of the hardcore fans are into AEW. Like you can fill, a 15,000 foot person arena with people my age, right? A bunch of 40-year-old jaded attitude era guys. But I'm still, I'm hoping the day comes where AEW can fill a huge stadium, like WrestleMania style. That has yet to be seen, but I'd love to see it.
With the Slaughter daughter in the house, stadiums will be sold out.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'll have to change this show to Slaughter Daughter House.
Absolutely.
Slaughter Daughter House. There you
go.
WWE because of the loyalty from our families. So we'll start with NXT. We'll work our way up. We'll be the big stars. You'll take Charlotte Flair, and all of them will be Becky Lynch. Will be history.
I'll buy all the merch.
So all merch starts right here with Zazel. He'll buy every single thing that we have.
What could be my finisher? So my dad had the Cobra Clutch. What's mine going to be?
Yours will be the that's a good question. I would say it would be the Python clutch.
Python.
But it's just the Cobra Clutch. But it's the Cobra Clutch anyway. You call it the Python Clutch. It's like how Charlotte has the figure 4, but she modifies it ever so slightly to be the figure 8. Right? And I'm pretty sure that Natalia Neidhart uses a sharpshooter. I'm pretty sure she does.
The Cobra Clutch.
Call it the Python Punisher.
The winning clutch.
Ooh.
Well, there you go.
The winner's clutch. There we go. We got it.
There you go. Then you put me in it. You'll be the biggest good guy in the world.
Yeah.
Biggest guy in the world.
The crowd really hate you, mate. And even I noticed that even when you're doing live signings, even people in the chat will be calling you Fruit Loop and all sorts of other names that I can't call you right here. But they're fully behind the gimmick. So even if you don't have the kind of heat you think you may deserve, you definitely have a lot of heat that is well earned.
I want more. I want more. All.
It's just so hard to hate him.
In my house. 24/7.
I'm just thinking of the day that I see the winner walk out on Dynamite on Wednesday. I'm going like, I know that guy. Oh my God. Like don't even tell me. Just show up on there, right? And give a middle finger to the camera, and I'll know it's directed at me.
I'll be right to you.
Right.
I'll totally do that.
Yeah.
So you
If
do
you
some
salute, I'll know it's to me.
nice. Yes.
You'll be there with me, Kelly. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. That's right.
Coming down
If
the
I
aisle.
salute, it's to you, Ken.
There you go.
There we go.
The
There we
Zazel.
go.
What, am I what am I? Chopped liver? What am I getting?
I said
I'm an afterthought. Thanks, Cal.
Thanks for thinking of me first. I appreciate it.
Love you, Hank.
I'm on the winner's side now.
There we go. Thank you.
You turn heel, and I'll stick with the winner. He might at least give me a high five or a fuck you and mean it.
Love it. Amazing.
So, Andy, you've done some acting as well. I saw on your IMDb. Yeah, your IMDb page.
I heard I have one. I don't think I've ever looked at it, but a couple of wrestlers I participated in. Some people have reached out to me on social media and said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing some acting?" I didn't want to go real far, and it wasn't that far. But some of the opportunities that I've had, one of them was on Amazon Prime. Volkov. It's coming back with a prequel that it's going to be pretty awesome. So,
Volkov Origin.
Yeah, you watched that?
Oh, is it?
I saw the trailer for it.
You saw the trailer for it? Yeah, check it out. It's really awesome. What'd you say, Kelly?
Is it a movie or a series?
It's going to be a movie.
Oh, okay. On Amazon?
It'll be on Amazon, yeah, for sure. They picked it up. So there's a little bit of money involved in it. You say there's money involved, I'm like my old man. You know, I like right? So, but yeah, the movie stuff's fun to do. It's just a extension of what. The only problem is, in wrestling, I'm out there for 15 minutes, and I'm done. That's typical. With the movie, you're there all day, and you got to do this over and over, and then they want this angle and this angle. It's like, man, like I want to get out of here already.
Yeah.
If you're wrestling, you don't have the patience for it. But maybe I'll be the next Rock or John Cena. What do you think?
Yeah, wow.
The next big face of Hollywood and wrestling.
Yeah. Hollywood.
Just looking at the Volkov figure, I'd forgotten that it was the face turn one where he had both flags.
That's the new one. That's the new one. Is that the new one?
This is the more recent Legends 2021 one. Legends 9 series or Legends 10.
Babyface style he ever had. Only one he ever had.
The only what?
Babyface he ever had. Yep.
Oh wow. Okay. So I always display it next to the Sheik on my shelf, and I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, he's babyface in this one.
Yeah. That's
right. And Blassie is with them on my real shelf. I just brought these for today, but
I spoke to Sheik actually.
Say what?
I just spoke to Sheik.
Oh, how is he?
Last week. Okay. He's not the Sheik that he used to be, but he's hanging there.
Well, tell him we say hello next time that you're having a chat with him.
Not the appearances anymore or anything. It's kind of sad. He's getting up there in age, so. But he is what he is. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah, I love his Twitter account. It is hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, a year ago he was still able to do the clubs thing.
Yeah, he's getting up there now. It's just it's hard now. He's got grandkids, which is awesome. Keep him going. But I think he's in a position where he's just he's tired, and his body's really beat up. He's had quite an interesting life, coming over from Tehran, where he was the Shah's bodyguard. And he watched the Shah and his wife, and then it's sad, the Shah got overthrown. Anybody affiliated with the Shah had to get out where they get killed, and he was one of them. So luckily he had a sponsor in Minneapolis, and that's where he was there with. He may have been, I'm not sure if he was before or after your dad, Kelly, but they may have trained together in, I don't know.
I'm not sure if they trained together, but they came up together.
They were in, he was in Minnesota too.
Lived in the same apartment complex, and
he was good when he first got here. Then he got some bad influences. Wasn't your dad, obviously, but there were a couple of bad influences there that changed his life. But he was and then he got the Howard Stern career after that for a while.
We're all a bad influence away from a life change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we are. You're right. You got to be smart about it.
Yeah.
True.
We all have
the wisdom.
And especially here, he's got the best head on his shoulders.
Deep Thoughts by Kelly Remus.
That'll be another segment we can do, Kelly.
We're all just Saturday Night Live reference.
Oh well, I've missed
Deep
the reference,
Thoughts
but
by Jack Handy. They were like ridiculous. Anyway, I digress.
You should have just owned it as a Kelly original. I was impressed.
Oh, that was a Kelly original. You can edit that, right?
Perfect.
You can edit the tapping on my mic out, right? That's totally no problem, right?
No, you're gonna own that.
I can earn that
right now, Ken.
Say what?
What's the weather like right now? in Canada.
You know, surprisingly, here in Vancouver, it was good today. Like, we didn't get any rain today. The temperature is nice and cool. Now, that's not always the case. Sometimes we get the freaking monsoon, right?
It happens too, yeah. You know, my old man, when he escaped Yugoslavia, he escaped because of a European weightlifting championship, and that's how he got out. He went to Vienna, Austria, and then he went to that's far from you, I think, but Calgary.
That's about a 10-hour drive. So but it's like a 1-hour plane trip. So yes.
Yeah. So he escaped and went to Calgary. Didn't speak English really, and then he ended up watching TV. He was an electrician. They had everybody there in old Yugoslavia. They had to go right to work and basically working for the government. Everybody was. You're making like $1 a day, and
Wow.
when he went to Calgary, he was doing some just different types of work. And he was turning him and his buddy Igor were just flipping through channels, and Calgary wrestling was on.
Oh, Stampede.
Stampede was on there,
Yeah, so the Hearts territory.
Hearts territory, and he saw the commercial.
Yeah.
He was the first graduate of the dungeon.
Was he really?
Yeah, the first graduate. Yeah. Brett always talks to me about the different things that because he would always get, again, being frugal. Helen, what's her name? Helen Hart? No, it was Stu. Was it Stu and Helen, right?
Stu and Helen, yes.
Yeah, Helen would make meals for they had so many kids. Make meals for the kids.
Well, they had 12 kids, so yeah.
Yeah, always making meals, and they always had leftovers. The kids needed all their food, so he would eat whatever was left.
So you know Brett.
When I see him, we talk. I don't make a phone call to him or anything like that, but we always talk. And
okay, yeah.
He always,
as Zazel knows, I'm like head of. Yeah, I'm like. When he does the Slaughterhouse Wrestling Championship, I insisted the voice of the Hitman. That was my guy. Canadian, the right look, the right role model. Bret Hart was like everything to me in terms of telling a wrestling story in the ring. Right? Sarge was my crossover character guy, but Bret was my favorite, all-time anything wrestling.
Great guy. He's a good person. And he's the guy you get on TV is the same guy that you see, when you meet him. But him and his brothers back then you didn't see wrestlers really big. They weren't that big. They didn't have that kind of size. And when the old man he'd walk up the driveway, the boys would be, look, he's coming, because he was so big. He had this massive chest. He was a power lifter. He set the European powerlifting records back then. So he was just big. So when he was coming up the driveway, the kids would get all excited because at the time he was so big, and he would. And meanwhile, he didn't party either, so he wasn't a partier. Right. So he would, while Stu and Helen would go out and do whatever they did, and he would babysit all the kids.
Good on him.
Yeah,
so he babysit Owen and
then he babysat Natalia, believe it or not, and her brother when Jim had, and maybe a sister. I'm sorry, I think she had a sister. Jim and his wife would go out and party and do whatever they did. He wouldn't do it. So he's like, I'll just watch the kids. You're going to pay me a few bucks, but I'll watch them.
Oh, wow.
So whenever I see her,
that's a cool story. That's a cool story.
WWE shows to say hi to everybody, but whenever I see her, she always says, "Oh, he was the best babysitter. I miss him."
Oh,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's so good. So it's what have I got down here? I got ISPW. Your recent appearance on there. I did catch your catch up singing. You were singing to the crowd, but trying to get the crowd to decide who was the better singer out of you and one other famous manager. You want to give us Jimmy Hart? You want to tell us how that went?
So let me first of all say ISPW is an amazing company. I love it. It's in northern Jersey. Your dad was there for their first event that they brought when they brought the company back. This guy, Tommy Fierro, he has the old school mentality, the 80s mentality. If you guys aren't friends with him on Facebook, definitely friend him. Tommy Fierro. He's got that. He owns 80s Wrestling. He's the one that also does the 80s virtual signings that you saw me host.
Oh, okay.
He's awesome. Right. He has a wrestling store called the Wrestling Collector. And this guy just, you meet different people through your travels, and he's one of these guys that just get it, as a promoter and just understand what wrestling is and understands my role better than I understand my role, believe it or not. So I what's missing today in wrestling, again, we talked about is, and he figured it out right away, is remember the Piper's Pits?
Right. Yeah, those segments.
Those segments, right?
Heartbreak Hotel.
Yes, Adrian Adonis had one. Remember the flower shop, different things like that. That's kind of missing. So Tommy Fierro came up with this idea and said, "Hey, I want to bring that back." Because usually when you go to a show, a lot of times the names that are there, they're basically just signing autographs.
Right.
But people want to also see them interact in the ring, and they want to be in the ring too at times. So he said, why don't we just bring a segment like that back, called the Winner Circle, hosted by the winner. So he had Jimmy Hart. I had Jimmy Hart on this past one. The one before that, I had Sonny. I think it was Sonny. No, maybe it wasn't.
The one I saw before that was the Christmas one.
Oh, that was with Slick. You're right. That was with Slick.
Yeah.
And then it was with.
It's not Sonny as in Tammy Fitch.
Yes, it was her.
Fitch, yes. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was a great segment. And then the one before that was it was a multiple Maven, Snitsky, Sean Studd. So it was a really good segment that we did there. So the next one, I don't know if we're doing that. We have the next show in February is awesome. But if you guys get a chance to watch ISPW, check them out. MCW is an amazing company that I work with.
Yeah.
Some other new companies coming up.
Interesting.
I upload the ISPW shows on the 80s Wrestling YouTube channel. So Tommy asks me to upload those on his behalf on the.
You can hear my voice. You know, I'm going to be the next American Idol probably after this.
I think so.
You know,
if not, you deserve your own Christmas album for sure.
100%. 100%. And Simon Cowell wants to sign me to his record label, so it's just a matter of time.
Excellent.
Yeah,
people can check it out. It's all great stuff. It's all great stuff. Very entertaining. I still can't believe you threw toilet paper into the crowd. But
all the time. That's terrible.
Next time we have you on, Andy, you'll have to do a Andy original for us.
And it's great. It's great to see you doing stuff with the original managers there, like Slick and Jimmy Hart, and keeping them young.
Jimmy Hart doesn't look like he's aged a day. He is looking fantastic.
I know. Just looking at that guy, I'm like, is it 1989 still? Like, what's going on? Right?
He looks exactly the same. I could not believe it.
All right. Yeah, I do apologize, guys. It's getting close to dinner time, my time, so I might drop off in the next couple of minutes. But Zazel, we talk every day. Kelly, I sometimes reply snarkishly on your wall, which I know you always laugh at. Andy, I'll friend you on Facebook shortly after this, and definitely love sharing the wrestling stories. I'll listen for a couple more minutes, but my screen might go dark.
That's
after
all
a bit. So
that's the number 2 right there. That's what you're really doing.
That's
right, exactly.
I missed it, so maybe that's a good thing.
I'm glad you missed it. Just make sure you wipe afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Well, while we'll wind up very shortly then, but one of the things that was mentioned to me was that I really should open up the floor to my guests at the end for just any stories or tales or anything of interest that they want to share that isn't scripted from my list of things to ask. So if you guys, Kelly, we'll start with you. If you got anything you'd like to share with us, even if it's recent.
Well, my dad did tell me a funny story about your dad. When he was the baby face, because my dad had turned into the Iraqi sympathizer, and he came out, and my dad said usually he would come out in the ring and he would start doing the USA, USA, and everybody would kind of chant along. And so he said this time he came into the ring and he kind of snatched the microphone out of the guy's hand, and he walks up and he's going, USA, USA. And nobody's doing anything. So he's like walking over to the other side going, USA, USA. Nobody's doing anything. So he's like, taps the microphone, blows into the microphone, and he realizes that it was the wrench for the mat.
That's great.
So he threw it down and grabbed the microphone, and he said he almost immediately went into the heel character again.
That's great.
Yeah, I thought that was a funny story. I thought that was good.
That's a good one.
I'm going to end that on a good night. I'm glad I stayed for that story, but I'll watch back for Andy's story as well. Thanks again, everyone. And
good to see
thanks,
you.
Ken.
You can take care,
everyone. Bye.
See you on the next one, mate.
There you go. I'll give you one before we go. That's a good story, and involves Sergeant Slaughter as well. How about that? Okay, so I want you to imagine this. All right, there's a gas station near the Meadowlands somewhere. I believe it's in Jersey. Your dad told me the story, by the way, Kelly. So the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov stop at this gas station, and back then you had I mean, it still is today. They pump your gas for you, right? That's one of the states that actually pump your gas for you.
Yeah.
Everybody's served for the most part. So anyway, somebody that worked there loved wrestling, and they wanted some autographed pictures. So they go over to the two and say, "Hey, can I get your autograph?" Like, yeah, sure, no problem. They, they give them the autographs, all that kind of stuff. They leave. Sergeant Slaughter comes by to get gas, and he says, the guy says, "Oh man, can I get drug?" He says, "Yeah, sure." He says, "How much do I owe you?" To Sergeant Slaughter. Sergeant's like, "Nothing. Why?" He says, "Sheik and Volkov just left and charged me $20 each."
That's great.
They had to pay for gas.
Wow. Good on him.
Well, we can end with that one. How's that?
All right, that's good.
Is that good?
Right, well, thanks for coming on, guys. I super appreciate it, Andy. It's great to chat. Catch up. I'd love to have you on again.
Let me know, man. I love doing it. So if you guys ever do this again, and I know you do, let me know. I'd love to come on for a little bit with you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm ready for the Slaughterhouse, the daughter, to get out there and let's make some history. Let's put the W
and be my manager.
And we're going to change history forever.
We should also get. We should definitely get Gennady on, and then he can tell me how to say his name properly, and I'll write it down.
Gennady, everybody's jealous of Gennady. You'll see.
Gennady.
Let's have Gennady on for a few minutes one night, and you'll learn that everybody's jealous of him, and he's the man, and he runs Baltimore, and he runs the wrestling world, and he is the greatest. Gennady, everybody loves him.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I'm super happy to have him on the Slaughterhouse Wrestling Championship. He delivered those lines perfectly. I did give him a huge thumbs up when I got those. So thanks for doing that. And we'll definitely tee up something so that he can come on and talk wrestling with us, because I'd love to hear his experiences too.
He's got some now. He's doing.
Yeah. So we'll tee
for having me on and giving me this opportunity, this forum to be able to speak. And this was fun tonight. I really had a really great. I wasn't sure what to expect, but I can tell you I had a great time tonight.
Oh, thanks, mate. I appreciate that.
Me too. And it was nice to finally be able to meet.
Tell your dad I said hello, please. Tell your dad I said hi, and hopefully I'll see him down the road.
Absolutely, I will. And like I said,
send him a text this week.
Okay.
I have his number.
All right. Sounds good. He had very nice things to say about you. So
I'm going to tell him, thank God Kelly looks like his mother. I think he'll appreciate it. I think he'll like that. What do you think?
Tell him about the idea of being my manager. See what he says.
Yes, I'm definitely do that. Yeah, we're going to get you trained.
Yeah.
If you're serious,
to happen.
I'm down. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Some ass.
Let's do it. I'm going to tell your dad I'm being serious. I'm definitely going to tell him. Be serious about that. If you want to do it, let me know.
All right.
We'll have to record a promo, Kelly, so I can have that at the beginning as Slaughter Daughter House.
It all started here in Australia.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks again for coming on.
Thank
You're
you.
dismissed.
Thanks for having us. You're
See
dismissed.
You Thank you, guys.
As you were.
I'm texting your dad tomorrow. Be good, guys. Zazel, thanks for having me on. It was awesome.
That's all good, mate.
Thank you.
Love your energy, though. Keep that up.
I don't know if I can keep up with this guy tonight. Usually I've got good energy, but I think this guy might run laps around me tonight. So
we'll have a good time.
It's okay. I brought some backup up here. So.
Oh, yeah, I see that. Who do you have back there?
Who do I have back there? A couple of really not super well known guys. I think I've heard of them before. Nikolai Volkov. I've got Sergeant Slaughter and another Sergeant Slaughter, because we have the biggest Sergeant Slaughter fan in the world and Slaughter daughter. So I had to go with two Sarges, and the guy he was feuding with / aligning with in 1990 / 1991.
You know that, right? You guys know, right? I'm Nikolai's boy.
I do. Yeah. Zazel told me beforehand. So I was like, that's why Nikolai's here. That's the exact reason Nikolai's here.
Love it, man. Cool. That's so awesome.
That's a great shot, Kelly, but maybe inappropriate for the audience.
I'm trying to figure it out.
Well, come over here, Kelly. This is a PG-rated show, Kelly.
I don't think I'll have to go back this way. Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
I was aesthetically with the four of, I'm just...
No, you look. It's fine. It's fine. I appreciate that.
The long hair makes me stand out.
Not necessarily.
Huh?
Where are you located?
I am in South Carolina.
Oh, nice. Okay. Are you Bob's daughter? Are you Sarge's daughter?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. I know. I've heard about you guys for many years.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking
we were talking about you on Thursday. So
You and your dad?
yeah.
I love your dad. He's the best.
Prepping for tonight, reminiscing to jog my memory.
He's one of a kind. You're blessed to have him as a father for sure.
Yes, for sure. He's
Proud of you, sister. I've always mentioned since day one, since forever, about you and your sister, how much he loves you guys.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
You guys have always been priority. You guys had a good dad, and somebody that you have a great dad. Somebody that really doesn't. A lot of those guys were wild back then, but he was one of the guys who understood exactly what it was, and it was about taking care of you guys.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. He was Sarge was left at the arena.
Yes, absolutely. I'm not sure we should be talking. They're like, I got the Russian gene, you got the American thing going.
Another rivalry on our hands.
Yeah, right. Get the next generation Kelly going.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, on the last episode, I did my best to contribute by fantasy booking what Kelly's career could have been like and who she would have feuded with and who she could have feuded with in the later stages of her career, which, come to think of it, the career could still be going right now. I mean, you've got guys like Randy Orton, who was probably born at the same year as you, Kelly, and he's still going right now. So,
Kelly, you're too late, Kelly. You should always get into it now.
I could.
Yeah, true.
I mean, I don't want to flex again. That was embarrassing.
No, by all means. I think I got about 3 or 4 flexes out of you in the last one, Kelly.
Beautiful daughter. Thank God she looks like his mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. I said, Sarge has a beautiful daughter. I said, thank God you look like your mother.
You know, it's so funny because when I'm with my dad, I look like my dad. And when I'm with my mom, I look like my mom. And if you look at a picture of the three of us, I like meld into like both. It's really weird.
So, Kelly, you've been very inspirational with your
Sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt. I'm just trying to, see if he looks like his dad or not. But his cadence is completely different. Like, he carries himself completely differently on camera. So I'm still, even though I'm somewhat familiar with your work, Andy, I'm still familiarizing myself with the differences there, because you built a very different personality for yourself, very different character for yourself there. Like, I could never see Nikolai wearing all the colors.
Oh, no, he loved it. I'll let you guys do your thing first to prep, and then we'll get into all that stuff.
Yeah, of course. All right, so just to finish what I was saying, Kelly, by all means, flex away whenever you feel like it. You've been a huge inspiration checking out your posts where by the end of what must be a very intense workout, you're still happy and smiling and enjoying the what they call the gains of working hard and working out. So you've been such an inspiration. In fact, I was like, I couldn't sit here with a Coca-Cola in my hand. I put it away and I grabbed some water for my health.
Oh, nice. Good.
So I can't very well. Oh, good. All righty. Water for Slaughter's
I also
daughter.
have a little extra, besides water, but that's it's also evening here it's Saturday night here, so I'm partying with you guys tonight.
It's Saturday here as well. Like, I'm in Vancouver, so it's 5 p.m. here, so I'm just a little, like afternoon/evening. So
where you're on, right?
That's British Columbia, right? Vancouver.
Yes, in Canada. Yes, you got your geography right.
That is one area that I would love to go, like bucket trip list. You know what I mean? Bucket list trip.
Oh, here we go.
British Columbia.
You're making up your own words again, Kelly.
Yeah.
All right, so
I'll do. She said bucket list. That makes sense. I heard a different word.
Bucket list trip.
Yeah, I heard it. I got it on the second take.
The first time I said bucket trip list, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I heard the first time.
Yeah.
Perfect!
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment down below.